Hey, everybody, welcome back to 50 Conversations with 50 Strangers. How fabulous this has been. Out of the blue, 50 people showed up out of nowhere and decided just to have a conversation. In a world where we are at chaos and struggling with each other and everybody's fighting each other, it is so refreshing to sit with people that I've never met and just have a chance to listen to their point of view, listen to what they're saying, listen to what it is they would like to tell the world without any hesitation, without any opposition, without this is their platform. And today I have somebody that I've never met before. I know her in the green room all of about 18 seconds before here. She was courageous enough to step up. I can't say her last name, so she told me for podcast she goes by Alice Lauren, which is going to be okay. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I meet with you as you meet with me, Alice Lauren. Alice, welcome to 50 Conversations with 50 Strangers.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Just tell me how you say your last name, because now I like to know how to say stuff.
Yeah, Mezhebovsky. It's Russian.
Mezhevsky. Wow. Is that where you're from? Are you from Russia?
I'm like first generation American. So like my dad was born in Kiev, Ukraine, but like we're not supposed to say Ukrainian. It's it was the Soviet Union then. It's fine. Russian.
Right. All
And
right.
then right? And then my mom is from, well, I guess it's not Leningrad anymore, but St. Petersburg, Russia. And my whole
Wow.
family is from there, but I've never been.
Well, I have never been out also, but I know
Yeah.
my dad's family was from Kiev. So
Oh
within 3 seconds, we already have some
wow.
commonality, right?
Yeah.
So welcome. Um, why don't we take a moment for you to just share with us all? Because you're normally when I do a podcast, I research people, I have a bio, I have all that stuff. I don't have any of that for you because we're
Okay.
strangers. So why don't you take a moment and just tell us who you are and tell us what's important to you?
Yeah, well, I'm Alice, and oh my gosh, I was so prepared until I until I thought of what's important to me. What a huge question that is. Let's see, I live in upstate New York, which is not anywhere near New York City,
Yep.
but just to let everyone know that.
Which city are you in? Because I know
From,
upstate New York a little
I'm
bit.
from Rochester.
Rochester. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Let's see, I work as an activity assistant at a nursing home. So we do activities and one-on-one. Right now, it's one-on-one visits during COVID with my residents. But yep, so I do that. I have a bachelor's degree from SUNY Fredonia in psychology.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm a podcaster, sometime comedian. I love acting, singing, the whole performing, the whole performing thing. So.
Fabulous. And so give us your best joke.
Oh my God. Okay, this is my favorite one. A snake went to the doctor and he was having some sexual problems, and the doctor examined him and said, "You have erectile dysfunction."
Oh, no. Okay. Okay.
It's
I
my
bet.
favorite thing every single time. It's not my joke. I take no credit, but it's just my favorite joke. You should
Well,
say your favorite joke. I put you on the spot.
I'm not a comedian though.
No.
I think showing up in person is my favorite joke. People tend to laugh at me all the
Oh
time.
my
No, I'm
gosh.
teasing. They don't laugh at me. Um, so tell us what's important because I know that you thought that was sort of a little bit more tricky. What's
Mhm.
important to you in life, and what's important to you as a person?
I think, I mean, it seems so silly, but well, it's not silly, but kindness. I think
Yeah.
in general, I think it's so the backbone behind everything. That's not everything. I mean, there's more at play, but it's the backbone of a lot of what's happening in society. I think about it with, let's say, the issue right now, not to like bring COVID completely front and center, but it is front and center
Yeah, it
in
sure
our
is.
lives. And I think especially with the idea of like wearing a mask. And for me personally, so because I work in a nursing home, I caught COVID very quick, like beginning like May 2nd, like beginning of May, which is pretty
Wow.
quick in this whole thing. And I did fine. It was fine for me. But right now I'm like, I don't, I can do anything. I'm invincible. I'm not worried about giving COVID. I'm not worried about getting COVID. Of course, I'm reading the reports to see, can I really get it again? But I'm not so worried. But I still wear a mask because I want other people to feel better.
Yeah.
I want other people to feel safe. And people don't understand that, that they, it's about, just it's about being kind, whether it's, about masks, whether it's about calling people, not misgendering people, calling people by their correct gender, correct pronouns, those kinds of things as well.
Yeah.
Just be kind. Who really cares? Just that it doesn't hurt you. It doesn't hurt me not to say, racial slurs when people make a huge fuss about, saying the N-word, for example. I don't care if I can't say a word. I don't mind if people are upset by it. That's okay. Like, I don't want them upset. you
Right.
know.
Right.
So I think a lot of what's been going through my head has been this idea of, cancel culture, what you can and can't say, and as I said before, the backbone of a lot of that is just be kind. Who cares? Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's nothing silly about that. I mean,
Yeah.
if we would end this broadcast right now, and
Yeah.
that was all people took away from it, it would
Yeah.
be worth their time to listen.
And
Honest,
it's
seriously.
something I say during like job interviews. What my strengths are, what I hope to bring. I mean, because a lot of what I would like to do is not necessarily care. It could be administrative work, but something in the social services is what I'm interested in. And I always want to bring compassion. It's just such a huge word for me.
Yes.
And what I want to bring not only in my professional life, but in my personal life as well.
It sure is something. If you think about filling a need that people need, it's certainly a need right now, right?
Yeah.
It just seems like everybody is fighting one another.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're one of the only people I know that's ever had COVID, can you talk a little bit about what you felt when you were on COVID?
Yeah. I mean, for me, so basically the story of how it happened was there was one of my well, not my resident anymore, one of my former residents. He seemed totally fine. I went into he had come in from the hospital, and when residents come in from the hospital, they are on kind of like a 2 week, I mean, everyone's quarantined, but on 2 week, like they're not really leaving, they're really not leaving their room.
Yeah.
People are putting on a lot of gear and things like that. And so he did the 2 weeks of it, and I think actually moved into a different room. And I guess there was this one time where I was like giving him his mail. I think his like brother was calling, so I picked up his phone, and like, put it on speakerphone so he could,
Right.
speak to his brother, and then just, clocked out. I don't know if I washed my hands or not, but clocked out and went home. And then I found out the next day he was put on kind of like a precaution, and then I think maybe the day after that, oh, he was the first person in the nursing home who had gotten COVID. So this was like, maybe I saw him Wednesday, I think Thursday he was on precaution, Friday he was in the hospital. So I was like, you know what, let me go and get tested just in case.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, I'm in a nursing home, no one's mandating anything, but so Saturday I went and got tested. Monday, I think maybe I was having maybe feeling feverish at night or something, but I kind of had been used to feeling sort of that stuff. But I was feeling fine anyway. But Monday I went to work, had like maybe like, I think Sunday I was sick, but Monday I had like a 97, maybe 97 degree, like no temperature at all.
Right.
Went to work. I work usually 4 hours a day because I work part-time, and found out that I found out after work that oh yeah, you have COVID. And I was like, well, that's really bizarre. I think I had one fever that Monday and then nothing else, maybe a tiny baby cough, not even,
Yeah.
nothing. I was really spared and was out for the 2 weeks.
So you were asymptomatic.
Pretty much. I mean, it wasn't too much. Maybe it aggravated other like chronic health conditions that I have a little bit, but it wasn't, it wasn't what I thought. It wasn't, I don't think I've ever had the flu, so it wasn't
Right.
anything, real. I mean, truly, maybe if I really, really tried to breathe too hard, maybe I could feel a little irritation, but it just, nothing really. And then I found out when I got back that my supervisor, a couple days later, found out she had COVID, and she was just achy, not eating, couldn't keep down water. So it's, a shock, because me with my, like, I have like a chronic intestinal condition, was fairly asymptomatic. But she, who I don't believe has any underlying conditions, was just achy, feverish, couldn't keep water down. Just, it took 6 days.
Wow.
So it's amazing. I still think it's a very serious thing, just because I, had a fairly easy time of it. And then, of course, a couple months later got Bell's palsy, which is really interesting what this virus can maybe do after you've had it.
Wow.
So I wonder, what connection that has. But yeah, it's just interesting how it affects people. I mean, I think three residents, including the person who potentially infected me, passed away. But
Wow.
most of our residents are, did really well, came through it, are doing great. So that's really great to hear in a nursing home.
Yeah, no, totally. So do the people that hear your story and say, look, she got it and nothing really happened to her.
Mhm.
And like, why should I fear it? And why should I wear a mask? And well, who cares? Because
Yeah.
she got it and she had like a little bit of a fever maybe one day and really was
Mhm.
asymmetric. But what would you say to them? Because we're in a time where it's really mysterious, and some people think it's being
Yeah.
pumped up by politics, and some people think it's being pumped up by
Yeah.
vaccine people, and some
Right.
people. But like, what would you say? Because you're in the midst of it and you've had it. What would you say to people?
Yeah. I mean, I would say maybe, maybe it's pumped up, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. I mean, there is such a huge, like, out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. Like, I can't even fathom whatever 100,000 people. Like, it doesn't
Yeah,
even,
right.
it's hard to have it register like that. But I know when I came back, a few of my residents had already passed. Some for non-COVID reasons, and some,
Yeah.
I know one person. I think it was Mother's Day. One of my residents was in the hospital, and I was looking on like Facebook of her daughter, who was saying like, pray for my mother,
Mm.
all of these things. And then she was, I don't know how soon after, like, she was just gone.
Wow. Wow.
And which is, I mean, that's a whole other thing, is family missing,
Yeah. No, it's
missing
so
their
hard.
mother. Oh, my mom texted me, I think it was yesterday, saying, have your residents been able to see family yet? Like, I want to advocate, because my grandma's in a different nursing home. My
Yeah.
mom wants to advocate for her. Like, I haven't seen her in 4 months. I
Yeah.
it's hard.
I have a developmentally delayed daughter who lives in a
Mhm.
group home,
Oh yeah.
and they're on complete shutdown. So I thank God for FaceTime, and
Right.
thank God
Yeah.
for like Zoom, because I get to see her at least every day on FaceTime, but it's
Yeah.
not the same. And I haven't seen her for months now. And so, um, and I really don't know where I stand on it. I mean, I'm in the age group where I stay
Mhm.
isolated. I'm pretty isolated. I hardly ever go out. I hardly ever do anything. And I
Yeah.
always wear a mask when I go out, if I go out, but I haven't gone out in 4 months very much. And
Really. Yeah.
when I look at the death tolls,
Mhm.
what I also see is that anybody who has COVID and has died, they call it COVID death, but sometimes they've died of a heart attack, sometimes they've died of
Yeah.
cancer, sometimes they've died, but they put it as COVID. So the
Mhm.
numbers are really like, I wish we could get just real numbers of how many people have died of COVID, right? Not of died of a heart attack and had COVID, or died, in a nursing home because they were sick and they were going to die 10 minutes later anyway, with or without COVID. And so
Yeah.
it's sort of it's a tricky place to be caught in
Yeah.
life.
I
How,
truly wonder who I would have been right now if I hadn't gotten COVID yet. Because, like, would I still be? Because right now I'm just like, well, I want to go here. I mean, I've always been obsessed with like the events thing on Facebook.
right.
I am I mean, I love it. I want to know, where can I go? I want to go to the lake. I want to go to the mall when they open tomorrow. I want to go to the,
Right.
everywhere.
But
Karaoke. Yeah.
you're pretty much you're safe because allegedly people who have had it don't get it again. Although there have been
Yeah.
some reports that that might not be true, but you're pretty covered at that point, right?
Right, or like learning that it's. I was just listening the other day to a podcast that it's vascular, it's not respiratory. So because it goes throughout your blood and your gut and your kidneys and so you don't know what it's going to affect and when. I mean, I remember when I got Bell's palsy and I was like, is it because of COVID? Like, maybe, it's all viruses, who knows? And that's amazing. That's so
Wow.
crazy and weird.
Yeah, no, that's it's so honestly, like people ask how are you doing and everybody says fine. How are
Mhm.
you really doing with all the
Right.
stuff that's going on with the race relation, with race stuff going on, with Me Too
That's
movement still going
that's
on?
what I
Like, how
right,
are you
that's what
really
I
doing?
thought. Yeah. That's what I thought was actually what gave me Bell's palsy too, because I would, I would actively avoid. That's why I'm kind of like, I don't want to talk about the virus, but I would actively avoid the podcast that would talk all about the virus, or um which seem to hit everything, or race relations or all these things, because you get a lot of that already. And I remember I would lay awake at night and be like, oh my gosh, so am I not supposed to like police? Am I supposed to like rioting? Am I supposed to this? Am I supposed to, all these different things, because people are coming very fast at each other, posting screenshots. Oh, this person said this person said that.
Yeah.
And I was just very, I was very scared of that. And so I thought, like, maybe that stress kind of put me, kind of put me over the edge, in that sense. Um,
Well, I don't think you're alone in your fear of all that. No, I don't think
yeah,
I don't think any of us know quite how to respond.
right. And I minored, or well, I practically minored in African American history. I think I was like a couple, or African American studies in college. I think I was maybe a couple credits, couple classes short. But I think it was like a group project and like the intro, like that was all I was short of that. So this is something that I, you know, am so completely passionate about. But if you really think about it for so long, and if you really, it doesn't, with race relations, it doesn't necessarily matter what a white woman think,
Right, right.
So so yeah, there's just a lot to it.
But so it stresses you out a little bit. Is that what I heard you say?
Yeah.
That yeah, yeah. Why won't it? Okay. What makes you happy?
What makes me happy? Oh my gosh. Dogs. I almost
Dogs.
wanted to say that with like, what's important to you? Seeing a puppy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I live in an apartment. I can't have animals or anything. I mean, I grew up with like a family dog, so my parents have the dog at their house. But yeah, I mean, I love animals. My gosh, what makes me happy? I know that's something I gotta think about
Ah,
way more, because I don't do it too much. I've been playing Animal Crossing a lot lately. I'm not a big video game person, but like my friend brought over his Switch, and so we've been playing the Animal Crossing, which has been really cute. My gosh, I mean, I'm pretty addicted to Facebook anyway.
yeah.
I'm always online. Um,
So it's interesting.
yeah,
It's interesting just to take note that with
mhm,
all the stress that's going on,
yeah,
we don't get much time to think about what makes us happy. And
yeah,
you would think like when I was growing up years ago, like before dinosaurs were around, people would ask what makes us happy and we would know what made us happy. But today there's so much noise and so much confusion, we don't even take time to really know what makes us happy. Let's go to a lightning round where it's just quick answers. You already answered the first one, but I'm going to ask it anyway just
oh
because
boy,
you might surprise me. Are you a
yeah.
dog person or a cat person?
I mean, dog, but I'd love to see a cat too.
Okay, all right. See, so you did surprise me a little. Um, Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Tea. Wow. Okay. Wow. Are you someone that you think is in the box or someone who's out of the box
Um,
in terms of the way you think about the
yeah,
world?
both. I don't know.
Both. Tell me about that.
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I was taking one of those. I don't know how to pronounce like Enneagram test things
Yeah.
yesterday. Yeah, and it was saying, right, like, do I think that people think that I'm weird or that I'm different than others or something like that? And I'm like, maybe. I mean, I'm not a person who really has a lot of friends, or actually, I don't know if I really have like female friends at least. Um, but yeah, like basically my friends are like people that I've dated, so it's been hard for me to like make friends. And just like the idea of like, I mean, I think it's also why I'm stressed about everything.
Yeah.
About like why, how I'm perceived is a huge thing. I'm a very like, I want everyone to like me.
Yeah.
I kind of have that, like, when people say, well, not everyone has to like you. Well, why not?
Yeah. Yeah. You want everybody to like you. So for
Yeah,
you, you want everybody to like you.
yeah.
Um, I love your honesty, by the way, and I really appreciate it. I love your vulnerability and your honesty, and how nice that to a perfect stranger you would be able to just share,
Oh yeah.
right, that to me. So thank you for doing that. Back to the lightning round. Do you think it's more important for you to speak your truth, or more important for you to be able to listen to other people speak their truths?
Oh my gosh. See, this is like the perception thing. Is like, I feel like one is like the right answer, you know.
There is no right
Um,
answer.
no, no. I just, when you first said that, my first thought was like, well, speak the truth, is more selfish than being a good listener. And I'm not saying I'm not a good listener, but oh my gosh,
Well, let's put it this way. Do
I want
you
to say both. Yeah,
Okay, that's good. You can say both.
yeah.
Do you feel you do speak your truth?
hmm Um, I suppose so. Maybe less so on the internet, maybe, but because I'm still very worried about, I have to be very calculated in what I say. I'm always thinking how, I don't want to offend someone. I'm scared with like Facebook statuses or something. But yeah, I guess if I'm having like a face-to-face conversation where it's like a back and forth, like I'm very honest. I'll say anything, and then I listen to them as well. So
Good. Okay. So you really are both. Do you feel like you fit into this world, or do you feel like you're different?
different. Yeah, I think just more like compassionate, than some people, or more people than I think.
Yeah.
um but see, now I'm like, oh no, I'm disparaging people. I'm disparaging mankind now. I think I'm better than everyone else. See, this
I
is
don't think
anxiety. This
I
is
don't,
what goes through
yeah,
my head.
but I don't think anybody's thinking that. I think you are more compassionate probably than most people. So I think that's a true
Yeah.
statement. Do you think you operate from your head or your heart?
mm, I don't want to say both to everything. To operate more from my head, my heart. I mean, I'm such a romantic. I've been watching The Bachelor since I was 11, so romance and everything is like a massive part of my life. I'm very boy crazy. Um, but with my head, I'm gonna say heart.
Okay, good. Would you say you're a leader or a follower?
Follower. Follower. Yeah, I kind of defer to others.
You're a follower. Okay. Do you think people are more different than they are alike, or more alike than they are different?
Hmm. I'm gonna say more alike than they are different.
Fabulous. Um, if money weren't important, what would you do? What would you choose to do with your life?
Ugh, go to Italy and just spend time on the beach.
Okay, good. All right. And you listen pretty well, you said also. Do you believe that not only people talk to us, but situations talk to us? Do you believe the earth is talking to us? Do you believe our bodies talk to us? Do you believe our businesses talk to us?
Absolutely, yeah.
So, if you were to take a listen to what you think the world is saying to us as a nation right now, or
hmm
us as a world right now,
Right.
What do you think the message of this world would be? What do you think it's trying to say to us that we're just not quite hearing?
Right. I think it's not good that it's at the expense of people's health and lives and everything, but I just feel that people should slow down. I think, a lot of these workaholics have had to really go home and focus on children, focus on the home, and also obviously also work aspects. But I think it's definitely a time to slow down. I think we're learning a lot more about society as a lot of these police killings have been happening, or killings by police, I should say. Um, yeah, I mean, this is such a huge slowdown for the world.
Yeah. And do you think the world at large is trying to say something to you as well? Not just we, not just the
Right.
global, but you individually.
hmm Um, I mean, I think the same things obvious as globally, but um, I mean, I know when I was quarantining with my ex-boyfriend because he was like prepared to like take care of me, and I think that was kind of this. It's interesting because when you kind of want the person. It sounds really weird, but you want the person to maybe not be in your life as much, but they're kind of stuck with you, and just having that companionship was very important. I've Part of me like, I don't know where I'm going with that, um but I don't know. It was such a big slowdown when it comes to that. When it becomes, I want to go out there and date, and I make the joke. I read somewhere that, oh my gosh, this pandemic has postponed my wedding. Like, I'm single, but
Right.
it definitely postponed it.
That's right.
That kind of thing. So I don't know.
Wow.
Life kind of paused.
Yeah. What are you learning in the pause?
My learning in the pause. Gosh. I'm just thinking about how like, I wasn't planning to stay at my part-time job for so long, but this has put a pause on looking for a full-time job now. What am I really learning? Oh my goodness. I think because I'm lucky to still be working. I know last year I was pretty much unemployed the whole time, so I definitely had that experience last year. Um, so I'm lucky to be working and not really feel that pandemic as much as people who are stuck at home all day would be feeling.
Yeah.
Um, because I still, would get out of the house. Um, did I learn? I don't know. I can't even like think of it. I want to be like, what did you learn? I can't think of things.
I learned a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy to share with you.
Yeah, please.
I, I was about to set out on a trip around the world to,
Wow.
to sit on street corners and bookstores and cafes and government offices and
Mhm.
libraries and shelters and hospitals
Mhm.
to to talk with people who don't feel like their voice is heard.
Mhm.
And I wanted to film what the people were saying, and so I was going to go and just do that. And it put a halt to that for right now. So that's why these conversations are so interesting to me, because I'm having them with people online and having them listening to what people would say if they could say something, and trying to get a sense of it. But it also I always think when you can't go outside, it's a perfect invitation to go inside more. And so for me,
Yeah.
the whole virus has brought me back inside myself even more. I was always a person that lived inside myself, but this took me in even more because I was a monk for 10 years in my life.
Wow.
So this reminds me of my monastery, because even though my wife and the kids are here, I am pretty still secluded in my little place here. And it reminds me of those days where I would just have the peace and quiet of being by myself a lot. and I'm with my family. Don't get me wrong. I'm certainly with
Mhm.
them, but there's not a lot of outside stuff going on. And so I'm savoring those moments when I look at the world around us and I see a river like the Ganges, which is the sacred river of India and one of the most filthy rivers around. Within 2 weeks,
Mhm.
50% of the pollution of the Ganges disappeared. And suddenly it was 50%
Wow.
cleaner. And nobody in the world would have ever thought that would happen. When I see fish and dolphins returning to canals in
Mhm.
Venice, and I see air pollution down and people being able to see mountains from 200 kilometers away that they didn't even know were there, I think, wow, look, the world is on rest. And look what happens when we get out of our own way. And it makes me wonder what would happen if I got out of my way more often, just in my own life. If I would stop all the chaos and the noise and the pollution of my own being and just would rest, what would I see inside myself that would be more real? So those are just, I mean, I have handfuls of things that I could share with
Mhm.
you, but
Well, I'm so stuck on that juxtaposition of it's the most sacred river and it's the most dirty, polluted. I mean, that is just what an amazing
yeah. And
phrase.
people go in there, people go into the Ganges to get healed and to get
Yeah.
cleansed, and you can easily die by going into that water. But
Mhm.
they feel the sacredness of it. But now it's 50% cleaner, or probably way more now because it's had a lot more time.
Mhm.
Alice, if there was one thing you would want to say to the world, and you can
Mhm.
be controversial, you don't have to be politically correct.
Yeah.
If you would want to say one thing to the world during this time, and you knew that the world was going to listen, they weren't going to judge you, they weren't going to do anything, they were just going to listen to you, what would you want to say to them?
Um, I mean, just so I'm not repeating the compassion and kindness, but I mean, still going off of that, reach out to your friends, reach out to other people, whether, you think they're going through a difficult time or not. I've had a couple people that I went to high school with that have committed suicide. Um,
Well,
and it's a tough time. I know I'm a part of Facebook groups that like put like baskets of wine and all these different like goodies and things like that. Just kind of random acts of kindness on people's doors. I've gotten a couple. um, I don't know if I have the money to like go and make a basket and put it on people's doors, but it's definitely something that I think about,
yeah, but
giving more.
you probably have the money to buy a loaf of bread or something, or a nice French
Right, right.
baguette, right? And a little bit of
Yeah,
cheese
yeah,
or
yeah. Maybe
something like
something
that.
small. Yeah.
Yeah, we all have the ability to do something. We don't have to go overboard. We can just do a little something.
Yeah, I remember I was once kind of sad because I gave like $3 to like a Black Lives Matter organization, and I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was like, I just feel so stupid. People are giving, $50, $100, $3, like that doesn't even help. And he's like, but what if that $3 was what someone needed to pay their bail? Maybe
Yeah,
that's what they needed, and just a little bit, even a little bit counts. You
yeah,
don't have to feel bad that you didn't give a ton of money,
yeah.
so
I think it's the act of giving rather than what you give that is what's important.
yeah.
So, is there anything you wished I asked you that I didn't before we close?
Oh my gosh, I know you asked all the big questions. I feel like you're a spiritual healer. Now I'm coming away with new things to think about, especially I mean about you know India and then how things have really cleansed themselves, and kind of getting on my way. There's a lot to think about, so thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I want to thank you for taking the time to be here with us. Will you send me your social media links? And will you also send me a
Yeah,
headshot
absolutely. Yeah.
so I can make the cover for this? And it'll probably, if you can send those to me now or when we get off the phone, then I can get it out within the next couple of days for sure.
We'll take a look. Yeah, all right.
Okay. Alice, thank you for coming. For those of you who listened to all of these talks, what a joy it's been to sit with strangers that we don't know and just have a chance to communicate with them and share with them and love them and give them the space to be themselves and hold that space for them to just be perfectly, completely okay and accepted being exactly who they are. So until next episode, I thank you all for coming. If you like this, please share this interview with your friends. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is where they're all showing up, and or check them out on Facebook. So until next episode, thank you so much. Always remember, stranger things that have happened than sitting down and talking to a stranger. Until next time, take care.